2, 1. We're going to dive in first. We're going to talk about the Architects. The Architects, they're a British metal band that's out of Brighton. They really focus on kind of a crazy, chaotic, and kind of just disruptive sound all the way through. They debuted back in 2006. They have just been around for a little while, and they've experimented with a couple of different sounds over the course of their whole career, kind of going into more of a melodic sound, but they always kind of tend to default back to this really chaotic, really precise metal music, which I really appreciate a lot. You're going to notice a ton of drumming, which is kind of like a lot more of what their focus is, especially since the only original member that is still actually a part of the band is Dan Searle. Since Dan Searle's brother passed away in 2016, who was actually the lead guitarist. That being said, their vocalist, Sam Carter, he has been around since like 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty close to original member, but the only original member still. This is going to be the 4th album they've produced with just Dan as the drummer. Just the first one with him being the only original member of the band, which has shown just kind of how they've been able to evolve and kind of overcome a lot of different changes in what they do. When it comes to what they do and them kind of devolving back into kind of trying out different things, this is going back to kind of what the Architects originally do. A little bit more of that mathematic style metal rock, where it is very much like I said, it's very precise. Everything is very controlled, but when they actually produce it, when it actually gets pressed and put out to us, it sounds so chaotic, but with intention. And I think it works really, really well for them. That's why they've had the staying power that they have in British metal rock for as long as they have. So really, really cool. And without further ado, do you guys have anything that you want to say regarding the Architects?
This is right down my alley. I love metal. Metal is probably one of my favorite genres. I love getting pumped up, and metal always tends to do that. This is my first time I've ever heard of the Architects. I didn't know they existed, to be honest with you. And apparently this is their 12th album.
11th.
Or 11th, sorry. 11th album. Thanks for the fact check there.
How dare you not know that, Bob? What the hell?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Right. Idiot.
Well, somebody else is getting fired today.
This is my final episode. Good to see you all.
Over my dead body.
I was, yeah, right. I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this. We'll start with that, but we'll get into more as we deep dive into these tracks.
100%. Mel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, overall, I thought his vocals were, like, super, super clean. I actually wasn't expecting that. I listened to a lot of messy vocalists. So it was very different from what I'm used to. A lot of the lyrics grabbed my attention, too. Like, there are some really cool lines. Consistently, like, the bridges were my favorite parts of the tracks, and the breakdowns were, like, really badass. But, yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm super excited to hear your take as somebody who really focuses on the lyrics side, because for me, I was so drawn in by the instrumentals pretty much the whole way through. Again, Dan Searle, I think he absolutely rocks out. Like, he carries this whole band. There's a reason that he is the only lasting original member, I think, in my opinion. Obviously, with his brother being the guitarist that passed away, unfortunately, to cancer. But, like, just the instrumentalism, I think, on this was so well put together. And so I'm really curious to hear what your takes are on the lyrics, because I just could not stop listening to the drumming kind of throughout the whole album. And we're going to get into that, and you guys are going to be able to hear a little bit of that, too. The album starts off with the track Elegy, which I'm going to play a little snippet of here really quickly right now, just so everybody is refreshed on it.
Yes.
Without further ado.
Nothing of the right.
Go ahead.
Really pretty vocals there. I was a big fan of that. Like,
Yeah, the way the song starts too is fantastic. The way it just kind of builds up, and then that build up hits halfway through. It starts off with a bunch of electronica.
It's got like that spacey kind of background, which is really, really neat and kind of builds in. Yeah, you're right. It builds into something just so much bigger.
Yeah, the chorus is it's haunting. It's great. It goes well with the just the hardcore riffs that come into this the middle of the song. I think it's a great start to this album. I love this.
haunting was the perfect word for it, actually. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The bridge here again was like one of my favorite parts. The way he can transition. He does it really well, and it's always very impressive to hear somebody who can be like that tender and like have such pretty vocals and then also transition to something just so heavy. He does a very good job with it. Yeah, I enjoy it.
I'll be honest, his guttural yell voice I think is one of my favorites that I've heard. Like it's just it is so well. He does such a good job with it, still having like some sort of melodic sound to it. Mm-hmm. That it's not just yelling for the sake of yelling. Like it is yelling with a specific intention, and he still hits certain ranges with the yelling kind of all the way through. I also loved this ride cymbal, like that was just sitting there, like kind of tapping the whole way through on the outro. Like it does such a good job at the very end of the track, just to like again show off. Just Dan Searle to me has just become a favorite drummer, and this is my first time listening to the Architects myself too. I'm a huge fan of Dan Searle and his drumming and what he's been able to put together, and Sam Carter on the vocals, again just switching in and out between that. His singing voice on this track specifically wasn't my favorite, but I wrote down notes saying that I didn't love that he dove into those choruses with kind of more of a melodic and singing voice. By the end of the album, I was convinced on that part of it too. Like just genuinely, like I thought he kind of had like an Offspring voice to start everything off, and like after I got to the end of the album, now listening to that same clip again right now, I don't hear it the same way. Like I hear now Sam Carter, and I really appreciated hearing that change up. And listening to it right now.
I would agree that initially when I first listened, I was just like, I feel like I've heard this song before. But then as I got through the album, my opinions changed on him specifically, like a lot. Yeah,
I think this happens a lot through the album too. I think his vocals really he seems to derive a lot of influence from a lot of I would say more well known quote unquote bands. I also felt that the Offspring kind of feeling in this first track. I think later on it sounds a little Linkin Parkish. Later on it sounds a little more Deftones.
Linkin Park was huge.
Yeah, Deftones is in there. He sounds like them. It sounds like Chino in a couple tracks, but we'll get to those later. But yeah, like the range for me is just incredible for this dude.
100%. And then that spills over to Whiplash, which Whiplash was one of my favorites personally, especially again being such a drum heavy focus, I think, throughout the whole thing. And Whiplash being obviously a pretty important movie about drumming in general. In case you guys haven't heard, I think again, like Whiplash, like worked so well instantly. Like the drums just take over, in my opinion, on so many tracks. The drums just own this album, and like again, like that's why I can't stop talking about Dan Searle. Like it just. He carries so much of this, and Sam Carter is a great co-pilot on all of it, but the drumming on it just does everything. But Sam Carter then turns around, like the pure yell singing for the verses, he just does so well. And I do have a clip of that in case you guys are interested. Do you guys want to listen to the clip?
I absolutely do, yeah.
Cool. I love this part. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it just does so well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think there was something wrong with that clip, though.
Wait, was there?
What do you mean?
I think so.
Oh, fuck.
Because Whiplash also ends off with a sample of Gordon Ramsay.
Oh wait.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
That was I should have double checked that. That was a exclusive to the streaming.
Oh,
That's
really?
Spotify exclusive, and I pulled all the clips from YouTube. I totally fucking forgot about that, and I should have double checked.
I was like,
That's
there's a
on me.
part where it's Gordon Ramsay talking at the very end
that
of it.
part
Yeah.
actually annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh, really?
Really?
I don't.
thought it
Okay,
was great.
so I really enjoyed this song. Again, this was another one where the bridge going into the breakdown was like so fucking cool for me, and had really cool lines like "Every rodent wants to live in a gilded cage until the soldiers come and take your tongue," and Christ preaching to the fucking scum. Like, I loved what they were saying and the messaging in this song, and I didn't understand why the Hell's Kitchen sample was necessary. I was like, we're shitting on like high-ranking church officials right now, and all of a sudden we have Gordon Ramsay screaming donkey at us, and I didn't understand why it was necessary. It took away from the song for me.
Interesting.
I just thought it was funny.
It was random.
Honestly.
It was random as fuck. And yeah, I should have. That's on me for not. I knew that was a spot. It was a streaming service exclusive for that sample, and I totally forgot to double check that when I downloaded all the clips.
These
I'm
things
sorry, I ruined
That's
everything.
totally fine.
I'll
if
add
you guys
it.
listen
I'll
at
add
home,
it. I'll add it in the post so viewers can
I
actually hear it.
That's-
I understand it didn't really necessarily play into the rest of the song, but for me, I just thought it was.
I could see why people.
These
liked
guys
it.
are like rocking super hard, and then they're just like, let's throw in a Gordon Ramsay
Yeah.
clip. Especially they're from Brighton, right? So like they're from the UK.
That's true.
It just feels like they're like, let's just find a way to get Gordon Ramsay in our album in some way, shape, or
They just
form,
love
you know?
him
And I
so
love
much.
that.
Need
I
him
think
in
that's
the-
such a nice touch.
First of all, next episode is just Brandito because Mel was also just fired because
Yeah.
of that mishap.
Sorry, guys. It's actually just a solo podcast. Although I do still need Mel to edit and do literally everything else. So
Right,
Figure it the
yeah.
fuck out, bro.
We'll hire you as a contractor and pay you twice as much. That being said, this is a top 3 track for me. Yeah, I the first track really kind of drew me in a little bit. Like, okay, let's see what these guys are about. This was the track. I was like, okay, I'm listening to the rest of this album. Like this is great. Like, this is hardcore. This is everything I want in a metal song.
Yeah.
And yeah, this went hard.
This
went
is
hard to
another
end it hard.
for me. This was another one of those moments where I do kind of just wish it kept rocking as opposed to
Yeah.
slipping into the chorus, because it didn't
yeah.
stop rocking kind of the whole way through, other than just kind of slipping into a little bit cleaner vocals on the chorus.
Yeah.
I just wanted more. Like, all I want is for it just to keep yelling at me. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I appreciate the reprieve though in the chorus because I think it makes the heaviness stand out more. I think you need that
Agreed.
break.
I get it, 100%. I do 100% understand. Like, it for me, when it slips back into that kind of that really light, clean vocal chorus, it
Yeah.
reminds me of like this is where I like specifically wrote down. It reminds me of like Transformers era Linkin Park,
yeah.
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 It is super heavy almost the whole way through, and then it just kind of like pulls back a little bit. And for me, I don't want to see what's behind the curtain. Just keep hitting me with it. You know what I mean?
I also.
I
Sorry.
I agree, but I disagree with that. Like, because I love that style. Opeth is another band that does that super well. Where they're
Opeth is
super
great for
super heavy for minutes at a time, and then they go into a 30-second, like, nice melodic, pull back the curtain type of moment where it's just beautiful, and then they go right back into the fucking metal, and that's what hits me. Like, yeah, let's go. Sorry, Mel, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really liked Elegy in this one back to back because I loved
Yeah.
the outro like being so soft and then transitioning into this one like was really really effective for me, which made this song even more important to me. And like, again, the content matter was so fucking cool and badass that that's why I didn't like the Hell's Kitchen sample. But like, it was really really good up until then. I won't listen to the Spotify version.
Yeah, there you go. Problem solved.
See, I love Gordon Ramsay just popping
too.
up out of nowhere. I was like, what? Why is that there? That's fun. Who cares?
That's great. Yeah.
That's fun.
I just literally like flared nostrils did this for like the last like 4 minutes, and then Gordon Ramsay pops up at the end. I'm like,
donkey.
Yeah.
yeah, yes, I agree, donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in.
Yeah, Gordon
I was
Ramsay
in.
just screaming at that poor kid that's a great episode. They did pull from a really good episode of Hell's Kitchen, so I'll give them that.
Yeah.
And then we slip over into Black Hole, which Black Hole was a lot of fun to me. One of my favorite things, I was reading an article about the whole album and stuff like that, and they mentioned the Prodigy, and this, especially the Prodigy being a UK electronic, basically, like, they reinvented a certain style of electronic music, and them, like, kind of giving an homage, the way that this actually sounds, was awesome. And so I got a little clip so we can hear. If you guys don't know who the Prodigy is, I also strongly recommend, if you're hard rockers, it might not be for you, but this is what comes out when people do listen to multiple different genres of music, and this is fantastic to me. I loved this part of it.
That double bass, though. Oh, my God.
The rifle drums there
Yeah,
are just so good. But then, like I said, that electronic kind of like backtrack that pulls it all the way through was just so exciting to me. And like I said, if you guys don't know the Prodigy, listen to the Prodigy, because you will hear so many influences in just that track. You'll be like, okay, like that is straight up almost directly the Prodigy. Like it is awesome. And again, like paying really good homage to a completely different genre, completely different artist. I mean, like, we can make this metal too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, I enjoyed it a lot. This is another track though where the choruses like took away for me, because it still always slips into like this really soft, and I'm like, just keep giving me more the Prodigy X heavy metal, like just keep hitting me with it. I just want to continue to be punched in the face.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone's like a masochistic freak like you.
Again, I just want to I just want to keep pushing people out of the way in the middle of a pit every single time I hear it, and I don't want to have this like weird break where everybody in the pit looks up and is like,
You just start like slow dancing. I don't know. I think it's really pretty. I appreciated the choruses. Sometimes they were tacky for me, and I'll address those when we come to them. But like as of right now, the choruses aren't tacky for me, and I'm enjoying them.
Same. I agree. Everything about the song was fantastic as well. I thought the Prodigy influence here, I guess, was really, it really elevates the song a lot. Yeah,
I thought it was super cool. I personally really appreciate it. The problem that I had with the choruses is like it starts to sound like Michael Bay film, like high school football highlight reel for me every single time. It has like that like breakdown and like that really like softness. It's just like give me just the best hits. That's all I want.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have like that moment of like somebody like walking out with the football out of the tunnel. Like I know, like just give me the hits, dude. I don't want to know about the backstory. Just keep hitting me. You know? I don't know.
That's funny. I appreciate.
You're looking for something
backstory.
specific out of a song like this,
100%.
Yeah. Because when it goes hard, it goes fucking hard. It goes hard.
Really hard, and all I want is just more of that.
Sure.
That's all I really care about. Although, again, I do start to change my mind a little bit later into the album and stuff, so...
Right now, you're just excited and you're eager, and you're like, yeah, this is
Right now, I just want to be... I want to need a mouth guard because I'm grinding my teeth so
I'm
bad.
assuming
That's what I want.
you don't like the next track.
How'd you guess? That takes us into Everything Ends, which was my excitement for how hardcore everything was going to be. This felt like an arcane-ass opening. Like it felt
like a Netflix arcade. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like it felt like made for radio.
Yeah.
Radio single, 100%.
It's so much less aggressive.
Yeah.
It is so much more. I guess you could say approachable for like an everyday person to like walk up to it, but it just they rock so hard for the first three tracks.
Yeah.
That I'm like, where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we turning it down a notch? Like, keep it at 11. I don't know why we stopped doing it. His vocals were also way more processed in this, I found, than on the other ones. And that made
It hurts it.
It didn't bother me too much because his vocals are really strong without the processing and with the processing. But again, he's so good without it, so I'm like, why do that?
Yeah, this was the most Linkin Park song on the album, and I think to its detriment, right? Like it was generic. It was still good. It was still catchy.
Yeah.
But it's very radio single. It's very approachable. It's not. It doesn't match up well with the rest of the album. I feel like. Not that it's bad. It's just not the same vibe and not the vibe I was looking for.
No.
But for
But
me,
you guys,
I put
go
that
ahead.
it was like it's kind of a bop, but like because it's a very approachable song. But and I do think it's a song that like you're broadening your listeners with, or like you're bringing this to a larger audience, in my opinion. And like as somebody who's a huge Coheed fan, this would be the single that drops ahead of time that fans hate. That I would fucking hate, but. I always come around to them in the end, like, because there's something about them that ends up being catchy and they're fun, and it's like, okay, you don't always want something super heavy, so like, but I could see the original fans fucking hating this and like ripping them apart for this.
That is specifically what I thought was when we did the Coheed and Cambria single not too long ago. This was specifically what I was thinking, where I'm like, I like the rest of this album so much. That this being the radio single style is frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. And when you were talking, you're just like, this sounds like a regular Coheed. When we were talking about Coheed singles, you were like, this sounds like what they do every time. They throw one out there just to get people involved, and then the rest of the album rocks out. So this is one of my least favorite singles. I'm like, I really like that, though. I'm, as myself, not being a big Coheed person. So this is exactly what it sounded like to me. I'm like, this is the Coheed single of this album. It was lighter. It was radio, poppy.
You don't need to be a metalhead to like it. Like, this will just... People will just... Like, more people will like this. Doesn't mean that those people are going to come in and listen to the entire album and like their discography. But, like, maybe that will get them a little bit more views off one track.
Exactly. That's specifically what it was for myself as well. And then, if you people that didn't really love the metal sounds... jump in, the next track is going to punch you in the nose and smack you down with Brain Dead, which I've got a clip ready to go for.
Yeah.
Trips. Jesus Christ, I must be symptomatic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought this was one of the most relatable ones on the song, actually. Like, I feel like this ties into, like, current times so hard. And, like, yeah, I don't know. I want to be fucking brain dead all the time because I can't handle real life right now. Like, I was just like, I actually really related to this. And it's like, yeah, I am fucking mad and everything's crazy. And I don't want to think right now.
This is the song you want to come on when you're on the highway. You're driving on the highway and you want this song to just fucking...
If you want a speeding ticket.
Yeah, if you're going 100. You want to go 100 miles per hour on the freeway, this is the one. This one's definitely faster, more heavy than pretty much, I'd say everything else on the album, actually. I think this is the most hardcore they get. I actually didn't like this at first because it was such a different vibe from everything else as far as like the heavy metal just comes at you so fucking hard. I was like, oh, that's a little too much for me. Or re-listen, I was like, okay, yeah, this fits well. This is good. I think, yeah, initially just a little too much for me, but
this is,
I do like it.
in my opinion, this is their most garagey and their most thrash metal.
Which actually
songs.
might be why I kind of liked it the most, because it almost felt messy, and like everything else is so polished.
Like again, like the one of the biggest things is, again, they're very mathematical. Everything that they're doing is so precise, like especially the drums. Whereas this is the first one where it's like, this is the first one where I didn't focus on the drums the whole, honestly, it might be the only track on the whole album where I wasn't so much more focused on the drums than everything else. This one actually put everything together and made like just a wall of noise, and I was like there for it. I also thought this was my favorite chorus so far.
Oh.
Because honestly, it gave me like a little bit like System of a Down, where it like the chorus kind of like slips in and out of keys and ends up turning into something kind of that sits in that area, right? It starts to go flat, it starts to hit sharp notes, that kind of thing, and I really, really appreciated that part of it. I also did write down, though, that Dan Searle is an unreal drummer on this one, because even though he didn't take over the song for me,
it's there.
this is thrash. Like, this is you just literally going 100 miles per hour, like you said, on the freeway, and he's doing that on a drum kit. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, for me, like, with the rest of this, I like the mathematical. I like the calculated.
Yeah.
I like I love that type. That's why I love Tool so much, because Tool does that too. They're very calculated with their music. This for me, a fantastic song. I love it. With the rest of the album, I don't think it fits as well, but it's still a good track.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot. Then you roll into Evil Eyes. What I noticed, like, kind of by the time we get to Evil Eyes, they really enjoyed throwing, like, a half bar of something at the beginning of every song.
Yeah.
Where it, like, almost just didn't, like, something that just doesn't quite fit. And then just, like, blowing it out of the water. So if I'm not mistaken, like, this one, I believe they do kind of like a jazz lounge piano for, like, literally half a bar and then just blow it up. So I got a clip here.
Yeah.
So, like, I think they're kind of trying to, like, keep incorporating other genres and being like, we're just going to throw a grenade at your piano and make it feel like that's what you're doing. And they keep doing it. And I love that so much, which is also maybe a little bit why I like that Gordon Ramsay kind of late reference so much, was because they keep taking these things where it's just like, this isn't going to be hardcore metal. And then they're like, but we're going to make it like that. Because that's what we do. Like, it's kind of like a screw the system type of situation where they're like, we're going to take what we take in front of us and blow it up and turn it into metal music.
For some reason, there's something like, so there's like pianos are so pretty. So, like, that contrast there works really well for me, where you're taking something that's so pretty and melodic and, like, destroying it. Where, like, I don't think it has the same effect of, like, going heavy and then just having Gordon Ramsay screaming in your face.
You don't think Gordon Ramsay is pretty?
I mean, I would fuck him, but, like, I don't think he's
There's your
pretty.
clip, folks.
Sorry, Garrett. Obviously, with your permission.
Sorry, Garrett.
I mean...
The man gets fired, and you're going to leave him for Gordon Ramsay. Man.
I'm not leaving him for Gordon Ramsay. It's just like, if I had to sleep with Gordon Ramsay, I would do it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I have to fuck Gordon Ramsay.
While you do it.
Right. Fucking idiot sandwich over here getting work.
If he doesn't call me an idiot sandwich the entire time he's railing me, I don't want it.
Yeah. That's fair. Oh, man. But Evil Eyes, this is my favorite track on the album. Honestly, I loved this track. This track belongs on a Deftones album. This was like Knife Party Deftones. This is early Deftones. This was
Yeah.
This for me, like, and I'm a huge Deftones fan, if you couldn't tell.
Well, how many times can you say Deftones in one minute?
Right, at least 4. It's super hard, but it gets very like floaty and very, just very transcendental at times. Like I love this track. This track's so good. This is an immediate add to my rock playlist. Like I love this.
Nice.
This
100%.
one had one of my favorite choruses. Like his transition in the tonight I feel, and then the alive was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like the way he can transition is very, very impressive.
This is where I started to like really grab onto the choruses and be like, hey, I'm actually liking their placement here. Because again, it felt a little, this one didn't feel like Linkin Park, even though it was kind of stylistically this similar, right? Where it's just like, it's not this like made for movie where like the chorus is this and then we go super hard when it's not the chorus. This one felt like, I actually like the small step back, just not as much of a step back as they were making during the choruses earlier on in the album. So I did actually appreciate this chorus a little bit more. This is when I started to really get like kind of into Sam Carter and his performance of the whole album, because he does do a ton of work and a lot of lifting on this album too himself. So I did appreciate this part of it. Then we go into Landmines, and Landmines for me was okay. It was not one of my favorites by any means, but it felt like one of the most balanced tracks, all things considered. Like, if somebody was to ask me, hey, name an Architects song that I might like as somebody who I don't know what they actually appreciate, Landmines feels like the right one.
Yeah. This wasn't a particularly memorable song for me, honestly. I don't. Do we have a clip of this one? I don't remember this one.
I didn't take a clip of this one, which shows exactly how memorable it was. Yeah.
The only note I wrote is like I did like it. I said this album just keeps putting out bangers is my note on the song, and then that's it.
For me, this is one of the ones that lost me a little bit, and like
sure.
This is where like the skipping over landmines hook gets kind of tacky for me. It's like I don't really like the subject matter. I think it's not like original, and like and it didn't stand out. It was almost a little boring for me, so they lost me on this one a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I think again, this one kind of sits in the same boat with me as Everything Ends, where it's not bad. It's not bad, but this one I felt like was the better billboard for who they are.
True.
For somebody who doesn't know who they are, right? It was one of those tracks where, again, I could present this to my parents, and they would listen and be like, okay, like, I can appreciate this. And then, because, if you jump into something like Evil Eyes or Brain Dead, like, you're going to get punched in the face, and you're going to immediately be like, whoa, I don't like these guys. This was, like, a really good signage of, like, okay, this is, like, where you are. I didn't love that it was, like, that synth-heavy backbeat during the verses, where every other verse has been super hardcore, but now we went, like, kind of synthy on the verses on this one, and like I don't disagree with you where it did kind of take me out, but I get why they put it in there, because that's going to be what actually brings people in, I think, more so than take people out, especially with metal only having kind of a selective base of people that want to listen to metal music. So I think this was, again, just another approachable song, not necessarily radio approachable,
not as friendly as Everything Ends, but I get.
But like, this is the best way to actually show who they are, because it does still get heavy in moments, it does still get powerful, and so this is like kind of that in between of, we're not a radio regular band, but we can introduce you in a little bit of a nicer way to who we are.
Okay.
As opposed to Brain Dead that immediately starts slamming drums at you.
Yeah, you can't just throw
what I mean?
somebody without prepping them.
100%. And then we have Judgment with this is the one of the features, Amira El-Feki, which I thought worked so well.
I've got a little favorite
clip. I had an assumption that this was going to end up being your favorite.
Loved
so
this one.
let's give it a little listen here.
Yeah, when that clip starts, I feel like the mix is a little too loud to be able to hear her well, but like the rest of it is chef's kiss. I think it's great.
Yeah. What do you got, Mel?
This one, I loved the opening in this one. That opening beat I thought was so cool. And I think her breathiness sounds so cool along with his voice and like the chorus. And I need to listen to her discography now. Like, I'm a fan. She sold me on her.
She works so well. And again, for somebody who wasn't really married to Sam Carter's singing voice, this did take a little bit of a step back for Sam Carter on me, because I want him to yell and I want her to sing. Like, if they just continue to make music together the whole way through, I'm in, like, 100%. I will be a super fan about the Architects, because like her voice works so well for everything. It gives me like that kind of Evanescence-esque
Amy Lee for sure.
sound. And his yelling is just unbelievable. Yeah. They did harmonize really well. It's not even remotely a knock on him, but I wanted him to yell on this track and her to sing. And like, I feel like the juxtaposition of both of them would have played so well on it. So I was left wanting a little bit, but it was still just a really good track, all things considered. Like, sci-fi backtrack again too, which was really nice. I thought it was cool. It's a cool one.
Yeah, really like this one.
And then we go into Broken Mirror, which for me felt the most out of place.
This one was pretty tacky for me, and the chorus was like, it was very pretty, but he almost sounded too pretty.
I agree. I love the lyrics. I love the lyrics a lot, but it just didn't fit. The song goes hard, but like the singing doesn't, I guess, if that makes sense.
It was such a soft change up from what everything else has been. I actually liked his vocals, his singing vocals the most on this track.
That's fair.
I think this was his more, and you're exactly right, it was his most polished singing track. But it didn't, you're not wrong that because of everything else that they've done so far up to this point, you're like, this, I don't love this now. Like, I'm already in the, I said, gnashing teeth mode, and now you're going to soften up on me a little bit. The instrumentals on this and composition on this was very Evanescence-esque, though. Yeah. Like, this was the most Evanescence-sounding track, in my opinion.
I can see that, Yeah, I think if this was like a standalone track and we haven't already just been listening to 8 other songs by them, it might have worked better for me. But there was a disconnect here. Yeah. But nothing against it. He did sound really pretty.
His voice was fantastic on this.
I feel bad shitting on him because he sounded really pretty.
But it's not what I wanted now. Like, you already ruined that facade. Like, I didn't... Like, I can't walk into the restaurant, be, told about, the chicken wings for 30 minutes, and then you be like, oh, actually, we're out of chicken wings. Like, no, you just sold them to me for so long.
Chicken wings, what a crazy metaphor.
But it makes sense, doesn't it? It's like, no, you just sold these to me so hard. No.
It's like,
you can't just take it back now.
You want to be sitting in a dive bar eating messy chicken wings, and somehow you ended up at a 5-star restaurant eating, salmon.
Yeah. You're like, wait, no. Yeah. This is not the same.
What's a dirty fucking chicken wing?
The dirty, grungy dive bar chicken wings.
Yeah.
100%. And what you said was cheesy, I assume, is probably the yelling, just the screams that come out of nowhere.
A lot of it didn't seem that necessary to me. And again, the broken mirror thing has been done so many times, and it's it's not bad. It's just not original for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get that.
Yeah. I don't know.
This was probably my biggest low light. What about yourself, Bob?
I like the lyrics. I wouldn't say this is my low light, but it's not my favorite song now.
Yeah, I get you.
I disliked Landmines more than this one. I think Landmines was my least favorite.
That's fair.
So to
Really?
give this one a little bit of credit, I didn't like Landmines. Landmines didn't.
It's
sit
actually,
with
you
me.
know, it is kind of bottom tier for myself
Yeah.
as well. I'm with you on that. But either way, we're not talking about landmines. We're talking about curses, because then we go into Curse,
Yeah.
which opens with this like super distorted shriek, and then goes into these super heavy drums, which made me appreciate Broken Mirror maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Was because you heard those yells going through Broken Mirror, and then Curse just opens up with that same kind of yell,
Oh, true.
and then goes into like these heavy, crazy drums, and the drums are going nuts the
Yeah.
whole time. I
This is
do have a
insane.
clip like ready to go. This is Dan Searle's like top track. Like he shows off on
Yeah.
this.
As free as a bird, but the days keep crossing off. Heaven came with a curse. I'm frozen here, I'm buried.
Even the hi hats.
Pulling out my throat. 'Cause I'm tired of biting these bones, trying to cut the life flow. Bound down to the spots and the second.
Like at the beginning of that clip, like you can hear him still like actually keeping time hand wise and throwing in these double basses, these double kicks at the same
Yeah.
time, like the whole way through. And I'm like, he's doing his kicks off time with everything else in such a unique way where it kind of just creates this discomfort. Like the drums feel like another vocalist on this track to me.
Wow, yeah.
Like it just like it's another character in all of everything that's going on. I could not stop focusing on his drumming.
It's a highlight for sure. And throughout a lot of these songs in this album,
Yeah.
it's a highlight. But this song, it's really good. And the breakdown in the song too, I think was fantastic. Yeah. This one hit for me. What do you think, Mel?
I was kind of on it. I don't know. They
Yeah?
haven't for some reason. They really lost me with Broken. Well, okay, so they really lost me with Landmines. They got me back because of Amira, and then they've still kind of lost me here a little bit. Like I'm not. It didn't stand out. Nothing about the track was stand out for me. So I was kind of just like,
Did you hear the drums?
maybe I should.
Do you want me to play it again for you?
That
Listen
track,
to
no, that sound clip was cool. I don't know. In the moment listening, in the moment, it didn't do much for me.
Didn't feel it?
Listening back to that sound clip, it sounds a lot more badass. I don't know.
You gotta listen to those drums again, because like just like what he's doing there is
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's on me
insanity.
for not. Like, I don't necessarily.
Well, you listen for lyrics, and I didn't hear a word of honestly this whole album. I cannot name one line other than the one that you said about the priests, which I also still don't even know. So, like genuinely,
Rats
I could
in a
not
gilded
name a
cage,
word from
bro.
everything because I'm too busy listening to
Yeah.
these off-time
Yeah.
double kicks the whole way
so
through
maybe
that
if
clip.
I was to go back and focus on instrumentals, that's something I don't necessarily do. Like I
This is an album you do want to do that with, I feel
maybe
like.
not.
Like,
for some reason, I need to appreciate drums more. There's certain instruments
drums,
that tend
yeah.
to stand out for me, and for some reason, I don't pick up on drums enough. So that's
Oh,
on me.
man.
That's
It's
on me.
the-
I'll do a better job.
Dan Searle, well, you're fired anyways, so it doesn't
yeah.
really
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
But
Fucking fire me.
I quit!
I don't quit. This has become my little passion project. I've dedicated too much time to this podcast. You're not getting rid of me.
straight up, we're committed. But if you keep going like this, I'm gonna start seeing red, which brings us into the next track. Hey,
Hey.
talk about a segue. This is what we do.
Well, they won me back on this one. I loved this.
Seeing red, the opening is so fun.
Oh, and
because
the
it gets like
refrains, it was
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, super
just
cool.
the weird, like kind of choiry opening, and then just immediately like slamming you
So
in the face
cool.
right afterwards. It's just
So
like
cool.
so
Yeah.
dope. Like I literally wrote, "This is sweet," and like I don't know if I've used the word "sweet" to like call something good or cool since I was 12 years old, but I'm like, this is just sweet. Like, this
Sweet.
made me feel just cool. I love it. It was so dope. Here's a clip.
Yeah. So
This song genuinely made me start looking up tickets to where I can see them live.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
Because, like, just the idea of being able to sit there and, like, start screaming, seeing red during that concert would be wild. Like, and then it immediately, like, devolving into just the most aggressive drums ever.
Yeah.
Right? What is it that they say? You only ever like me when you're seeing red. Like, just
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in a stadium and hearing that and not wanting to scream it at the same time,
Yeah.
and then just immediately just
Well,
Yeah.
I
Headbanging
loved
the whole way.
how much this song was kind of a fuck you to their fans, though. Like,
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
such a big
Yeah.
fuck you. And, like, you only like us when we're fucking angry and giving you shit like this. And I really appreciated it. Also, that line, like, you dummies only live on the internet. As somebody who is married to a man who literally has his career is based on the internet, y'all fuckers need to touch grass, please. Like, please. Because,
Honestly, yeah.
it's fucking crazy. Fandoms are insane. You don't
Yeah.
fucking control what artists do with their lives. Get over yourselves.
100%.
And I thought it was so cool. I just love the authenticity in it, and it was a really badass song. And it's funny because this is probably going to be the track that they love the most because it's so heavy and they're giving them what they
Right.
wanted, but it's also like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to do exactly what they're talking about being annoyed of.
Yeah.
The fans
well-
are just going to keep doing it and be like, what do you mean? That song's a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
Great.
like, it's about you, sir.
Yeah, it's like, they're literally insulting you, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But I love
There's
that.
a line in the song that goes, "Are you happy now?" Essentially, and
Yeah.
because this song is a banger. Yeah, it's great. I love this song. Love this song.
So
This is one of
good.
the only songs I pay attention to the lyrics on because of that. I looked up that same half-ass internet research. I saw that too, Mel. So
It's so cool.
fuck you, fans.
Yeah,
This is-
Plus,
fuck all
it also
you.
gets an unreal drum solo and an unreal, what I love, synth solo. It was
awesome.
This was.
Brandito is the biggest fan of synths. It's so funny.
I love synth so much. It's so much fun. It's so dope. And you get a solo in that song, which is it also kind of like, now that you're mentioning like the screw you to the fans that you were talking about, it honestly, it kind of makes a little bit sense why they gave like these weird solos too, because they're just like, cool, like now we're just gonna make you pop off for like a couple of moments,
Yeah.
and the fans are gonna love that, and then you're gonna do a couple things for a couple minutes without
Yeah.
anybody else, and the fans are gonna love that. It's just like kind of like a tongue in cheek like
fan
like,
service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tongue-in-cheek fan service. It's
it
great.
wasn't
Yeah.
about you guys. We're doing
Yeah.
it for us, and this
Yeah.
is how we're gonna let you know and remind you. This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And I like that.
like,
I do like that a
cool.
lot.
We like that you like our music, but like, fuck you, we ain't doing it for you.
Yeah.
100%. And then we drop into the final track of the album, Chandelier, which had this really calm piano opening to close everything out. Like, after how hard the whole album goes, this actually felt like a really cool way to end it. It's not my favorite track. It's not one I'm ever going to go back to and be like, wow, I can't wait to listen to Chandelier again. No, I want to listen to everything else other than Chandelier. But I felt like this was just the way they wanted to close things out. And I was like, this is kind of dope. It was also Dan Searle's most technical drumming,
Yeah.
Which
I
was-
loved the drums on this one.
which was a really nice way to close it out. It was Dan Searle like kind of like tipping his hat and being like, yeah, I'm still the guy. And I really liked that a lot. Like, it was so technically sound. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to really dispute. It was a really, really cool track on that end. But again, everything else about the track, kind of missable,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
The drums were the highlight. The lyrics were fine. Nothing stand out outside
Yeah.
of the drums, but I thought it was a banger song because of the drums alone, honestly. So
100%. Mel?
Yeah,
your
I
thoughts?
thought this one had another really pretty chorus, but it worked for this, like, as an outro for
It
me,
did.
where, like,
Yeah.
it made sense in the positioning of the album, like, the tone that they were going with. Also, I loved the guitar in this one, guys. We didn't get, like, any standout guitar, and we got teased with it in this one, and I wanted more. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second, why don't we do guitar solos? But I guess that's me as a Coheed fan wanting Claudio guitar solos, so sorry.
There is you mean you don't like just over and over again for pretty much an entire 45 minutes?
I do, but I love a little guitar solo.
No. Drum solos, synth solos, no guitar solos.
Fuck you. Go touch grass, motherfucker.
Without further ado, in conclusion, Bob, what were your thoughts?
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. I went in completely blind. I didn't know who Architects were. I didn't know what genre they were even. I went in completely blind. Very, very pleasantly surprised. The way they switch, like in every song from electronica, heavy metal, they got those soft floating vocals before hitting you with a crazy hard breakdown. Drumming was solid. Love this guy's voice. I'm sold. I'm honestly. You said this is their 11th album, not their 12th, their 11th.
Yeah.
I want to go through their discography and see what they're all about. Like this album was probably my favorite one we've reviewed so far.
Oh wow!
As a podcast, and I gave them a 9.3. Like this is great for me. I loved them.
Awesome.
I'm
Mel?
not surprised by that.
I knew you were gonna like this one.
The
a lot.
whole time
knew
I
you
was
were gonna
listening,
like it a
I was
lot.
like, "Good thing Bob's back."
Yeah, Garrett would not have enjoyed this.
He got stuck
Probably.
listening to some of it a little bit because I worked from home yesterday because of our lovely sinkhole on 80.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, "Oh, don't ever have me on for a metal album." I'm like, "Don't worry, I never planned on it." I was like, Squid was already a stretch.
Squid was a stretch.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. Y'all are gonna hate me.
No.
I'm giving it a 7-8 just because they lost me at parts. I still really enjoyed it as a whole. There were some really high parts, like high parts for me. Like I said, I love Judgment Day. I loved Seeing Red. But like some of it just like some of it got a little too pretty. I love a messy vocal, guys. I like Pat the Bunny.
Sure.
This was like sometimes at points
yeah.
too fucking clean for me. But I still appreciate it.
That's fair.
So, for myself, if you're a drum fan, you're gonna love this. Like, genuinely, if you give any rat's ass about drums, listen to this album, because it is a clinic. It is... Dan Searle puts on an absolute clinic. Mm-hmm. And it will keep you coming back. Like, straight up. Like, his drums will keep you wanting to come back to this album over and over again. If you're a yelling fan, I think Sam Carter's yells are probably my favorite that I've heard in a very, very long time. Yeah. His guttural voice is fantastic. I'm still not 100% convinced on his singing voice as much. And the choruses did take me out a little bit on a lot of that kind of side. But I don't think it really ruined any songs either for me. Whereas, we reviewed LS Dunes a couple episodes ago. LS Dunes, Anthony Green's voice ruined songs for me.
I love his voice so much.
Sam Carter's does not. Sam Carter's does not ruin songs for me. I just wish there was a little bit more of him yelling as opposed to the other options. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, like, as long as you're prepared for the fact that you're going to have that vibe check between verses and choruses that is going to constantly shift, this was great. And honestly, it made me more interested to go through the rest of their discography. I'm not a 9.3. I'm actually not even a 7.8. I'm going straight 7.5, 3/4 of the way to 10.
Oh, wow.
I was a 7.5 on this one. The choruses kept pulling me out of songs.
That's fair.
And that was
I
the
wasn't
biggest
expecting
issue for
us
myself.
to be kind of on the same page on this one. I figured you would.
We are. The drums on it rocked out. They were awesome. They did such a good job. And again, like, Dan Searle is a hero in my brain because it is unbelievable. And Mel, if you just listen to this whole album, if you could remove everything other than the drums, I think you'd have a newfound appreciation for what all's going on there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I lost the lyrics almost entirely on the album. I
Sure.
genuinely didn't hear really any of the words because I was so focused on other things. And again, the choruses just kept taking me out of it. When I did tune into the vocals, as soon as I got really heavy into one, I got pulled out of it again. And that was kind of one of the big difference makers, I think, for myself.
Man. And I love that. I'm the opposite when it comes to that stuff. That's the stuff I crave, honestly.
Yeah.
Like going in, going out of the heavy to soft to heavy.
I knew you
That's
would.
my jam. Yeah. So
Knew you
There are
would.
definitely times where you need the reprieve, and I think it does make the heaviness, like I said, stand out more. Like if it was just
Exactly,
screaming
yeah.
nonstop, what are you emphasizing? You're just screaming to scream at that point. So I do think the
I think
inflection.
there's a place for both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
There's
Yeah,
songs
but
where I don't want to
screaming
stop.
well. Unlike like a Benson
Yeah.
Boone who's just screaming to scream.
Benson Boone added synth in his last track. You might love it.
Was it a synth solo?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
kidding me?
Then
Benson
I don't
Boone
care.
doesn't shut the fuck up. He's not gonna let there be like an instrumental
All he
solo.
wants to do is scream at us. Anyways, that is so different from what this album was. So like, maybe we could stop talking about him for just a moment because that doesn't make any sense in correlation with this. I
think
brought it
you
up.
brought
I
it
have to
up,
apologize.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I
That was a me thing.
I almost put the Benson Boone single on here, and I did Brandito a favor and left it off and put Lizzo instead.
Oh, that's the favor. You put Lizzo on.
Amazing. You're so.
You're welcome.
Nice.
I appreciate it so much.
Oh, I forget that
And
this
that's-
is like also really separate. So like, listen to our singles episode to listen.
Oh
to
yeah,
the
do that. That's a totally different episode that we didn't
Oops.
record an hour ago. But that's The Sky, the Earth, and All Between by Architects.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.